Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Today I have another experiment video for you. After I did my bamboo fiber experiment video, I had several of you asking me about Victoria's Keto Kitchen Standard 2.0 flour blend, which contains bamboo fiber as well as some other ingredients. You were asking me if I've tried it and if I would try it and give my opinion on it. So that is what we are doing today. We are experimenting using Victoria's Keto Kitchen Standard 2.0 flour blend. And I'll put a link in the description to her blog that has her written recipe for that. I actually halved the recipe because I wasn't sure if I was going to like the flour blend. So we'll see what goes with that. One of the tips that she says is definitely weigh your ingredients. Do not just measure it out in cups and tablespoons, weigh it, which I concur 100% with that. I've told you guys that many times, and I did a whole experiment on the difference between weighing and not weighing your ingredients. And when it comes to high fiber flours like bamboo fiber, oat fiber, coconut flour, it is key that you weigh your ingredients, especially when you're making a flour blend, because one of the reasons I'm not usually a big fan of flour blends is everything has to be just so when you make a recipe. Baking, cooking, it's all a science. Everything has to be equal. And in flour blends, if you don't mix it up real well, then you're going to have more of one flour than you are of another, and more of this ingredient than that ingredient. So it just needs to be mixed and blended really, really well. So make sure when you make this blend that you blend it really, really well, that everything is evenly distributed. So again, I'll leave a link in the description to her blog, and you can check out all the tips and all that good stuff and all the measurements that you're going to use for that. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell. If you want to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description and use any of those affiliate links. And let's get cooking. Before we get into the actual recipe, I'm going to throw together the flour mixture. Basically, it just contains bamboo fiber, or if you can't find bamboo fiber, you can use oat fiber, golden flaxseed meal, egg white protein powder, and xanthan gum. I halved the recipe, so what's on the screen here, that's the proportions that I used. And as far as any substitutes go, I know people ask me a lot for substitutes of egg white protein powder. I don't know if any substitutes would work. Same with xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is basically taking the place of gluten in this flour mix. So it's what's going to be binding the ingredients together. So I don't know if there's a substitute for that. Anyway, you just combine all the ingredients together. Make sure you whisk it together very, very, very well. You want to make sure that everything is evenly distributed. I'm whisking it for about 20 seconds at least, just to really make sure it's mixed well. Then I'm going to sift it. And if there's any large pieces of the flaxseed meal, I'm going to regrind those. And then I'm going to sift it again, whisk it again, make sure it's all mixed really well. Once it's all mixed up really well, then you can store it in an airtight container. She said that you can store it in your pantry or in your refrigerator. She didn't say how long it would last. I'm assuming it'll last until whatever the dates are on the ingredients that you use. And each time you use this flour mixture, make sure you always shake it and mix it up really well before you measure out your ingredients. She said 1 cup equals 84 grams. Now, she said this could be used 1-for-1 for all-purpose flour that doesn't require gluten for rising. So I'm going to try this in a gluten-free hamburger bun recipe. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Line a large baking sheet with a silicone baking mat, or you can lightly grease 2 to 4 silicone bun molds. Combine 84 grams or around 1 cup of Victoria's flour blend. Add 2 teaspoons or around 10 grams of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum, a half teaspoon of salt, 9 grams or around 1 tablespoon of instant dry yeast. Sift the dry ingredients together until everything is fully combined and there are no lumps. Add 1 large room temperature egg, 15 milliliters or around 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Add 30 milliliters or around 2 tablespoons of the oil of your choice. Stir the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients until everything is fully combined and all the dry ingredients are moist. Once the dry ingredients are all moist, if it still seems dry, which mine does, then just add very small amounts of hot water until a dough forms. Divide your dough into 2 to 4 portions, depending on how big you want your buns to be. Roll each portion into smooth balls. Place the dough balls on your baking sheet or in your silicone molds. Use your hands and flatten the tops of the dough balls so you have basically the shape of a hamburger bun. Place the buns in your preheated oven. Bake at 400 degrees for 16 to 20 minutes or until the buns are golden.
All right, we are back with our hamburger buns. I cut it into a top and a bottom. I didn't really cut it very even, so, but it's all right. It smells good, but honestly, right now, I hate to say it, but it's not looking very promising. This didn't expand at all, and it's super, super heavy, super dense. The outside of it's really hard. I mean, listen to that. That's hard. That doesn't mean that her flour blend is bad. This just could have been a bad recipe, so don't take that as, oh no, stay away from her flour blend. No, her flour blend I'm sure is just fine, but this recipe in particular, it so far is not working for. I don't even want to bite into this thing, but I'll give you an idea here, see if it tastes better than what it feels. Yeah. It doesn't have a bad taste really, I mean, but the texture is just not right at all. So for this particular recipe, as a 1-for-1 substitute for gluten-free all-purpose flour, did not work for me. But again, that does not mean that you should steer away from her flour blend. I'm pretty sure her flour blend is just fine. If you're gonna try it, you should probably start out with recipes that are specifically designed for it and then go from there. Again, this is another reason why I don't like flour blends, because you really have to make sure that everything is evenly distributed just right. I mean, if you don't mix it up just right and you've got more bamboo fiber in one portion of your flour and more flaxseed meal in another portion of your flour and not enough xanthan gum in this side, and it's really hard to get the right amount and the right proportions out when it comes to flour blends. That's why I personally prefer to just measure out the individual ingredients rather than make a ready-made flour blend. But again, that is just me. I'm not knocking Victoria's flour because, like I said, I'm sure it's great. It just, for this particular recipe, didn't work. For me, this is a no. But I encourage you to try it for yourself with a recipe that is specifically designed for it. This wasn't specifically designed. When she said it was 1-for-1 for all-purpose gluten-free flour, I figured, hey, let's see. Well, we saw, didn't work out for me, but that's just me. It may not work for a 1-for-1 substitute for gluten-free all-purpose flour. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.